You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Here's your host, Chris Voss. I don't think that's going to get me sued for that one wrestling bit. Welcome to the show, my friends. Welcome to the show. We certainly appreciate you coming by and spending some time with us today. We have an amazing show for you today. This show is so amazing. It's more amazing than any other show that's come before, and you're going to love it. You're going to love it, and you're going to like it, or else. Don't make me come over there. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not that way. You know that. We love you on the Chris Voss Show. But, I am, we love you. We're the family that loves you but doesn't judge you. But remember, just like your mom, I might come over there with a stick. No, it's not the 70s. Stop that, Chris. Anyway, guys, as always, refer the show to your family, friends, and relatives. We have an amazing discussion we're going to have on the show. It's a multifaceted show. There's more than one facet of the show. We have an amazing author on the show to talk about a couple of books. And we're also going to be talking about an amazing value community where you can produce different content, teach people, school people, course people, but then also have a community that's built around it. So we'll get into some of that. So stay tuned as we wander through the production of the show and get to know our guests better. As always, youtube.com/Chris Voss, goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn, all those crazy places on the interwebs, except for Snapchat. We will not send you DMs for the most obvious of reasons, because that's bad. Or at least we think so. And sorry, the Chris Voss Show just doesn't ever, it's always closed at all times. I don't know, there's a joke there somewhere, but you figure it out. Anyway, guys, welcome to the show. We have an amazing author on the show. Dana Sardano is on the show with us today. She's the author of a book called 10 Recommandments for Personal Empowerment, and a new book, Woo, we'll be talking about, that'll be coming out. And she's also the head of a new company called FindUniquelyYou.com. So we'll get into that later in the show. She is an amazing person. At least that's what she told me in the green room. And I believe her. After talking to her for about 15 minutes. Anyway, she is a former high school teacher administrator who in 2017 left a 25-year career, in fact, in education to become an artist after picking up the paintbrush for the first time in 2015. She has since opened Ubuntu Fish Gallery in Stuart, Florida, authored several books, co-founded Phenom Publishing, and FindUniquelyYou.com. Her most recent written works, 10 Recommandments for Personal Empowerment, is a loose autobiography written in a how-to format that is structured around the life lessons that have led her to her own personal empowerment. Her follow-up to 10 Recommandments, Beyond the 10, Decoding the Woo-Woo, chronicles Dana's spiritual journey and leads us to the right here, right now. That sounds like a Van Halen song. That's one of my favorite songs, actually, from Van Halen. Right now. Do it now. So, welcome to the show. Dana, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. And thanks for the introduction. That was nice.
Yeah, we always do a ramble that kind of wanders around, and we just kind of fake it as we make it every time. And people are like, I had one New York Times reporter says, yeah, I just like to go through your shows and listen to whatever ramble you make up every time just to see how off the cuff it comes and whether it flies or not. So welcome to the show. Give us your .coms one more time so people can find you on the interwebs.
I independently could be found at UbuntuFishGallery.com. My collaborative works, with my business partner, Angela DeMarco, shout out, can be found on FindUniquelyYou.com. Together, we've created, it's her brain baby. I'm just going to put it out there. But together, we've created FindUniquelyYou.com. And the most recent arm is Phenom Publishing. That can be found on FindUniquelyYou.com. So we're publishing books, we're doing workshops, making art, we're having a party.
There you go. Wait,
Yeah,
there's a party too? I want to get invited to that.
You are. Here we are.
Cool. All right. Is that in the middle? No, you got more than one arm going on. You're like one of those Indian ladies who sits there in the Hindu thing and she's got like 50 arms. So those of you not watching, cause the podcast goes on audio, you should check out the, YouTube version and you can see the beautiful art behind, Dana. You've got a few different works there from your hand.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is my office. So my office in the gallery, there's a door right there, and it takes you out to the front where the gallery is. So the place it's all mine. It's all mine. Picked up a paintbrush one day, lost my mind, and here we are.
Well, I mean, being a teacher for 25 years will do that to you.
Right?
All high schoolers make you lose your mind.
Yeah.
My mom was a teacher for 20 years. I think she lost her mind raising us as kids. So I think that's why it made her schooling easier. I should tell her that joke and see how hard she slaps me. So welcome to the show. We'll set a pathway here and we'll wander down this road. We'll start with your books, 10 Commandments for Personal Empowerment. Why did you decide to just override what God wrote and redo 10 Recommandments? What's going on there?
Because I'm totally irreverent. No. Oh. Why did I overwrite what God wrote? Oh, that's such an awesome way of putting it. You know, in the gallery, it's not just an art gallery, it's intuitive lounge, because what I've learned is intuition and creativity, they grow in tandem. Right? When you become creative, your senses, open up. And when you allow your senses to open up, your creativity becomes, it flourishes. So the gallery is about intuition and creativity. What I do in the gallery, other than create art, is I do intuitive guidance and stuff like that. I do workshops and all of these things to help people become more empowered and live their best lives. So in the spring of 2021, my entire family gets COVID. 4 of us dropped like flies. Boom, boom, boom. And so, I was like the last one to go, like the rhino with the tranquilizer dart, like, no, but we all went down for the count. And after the initial, oh my God, I have COVID, right? I was laying in bed in stillness, which I usually don't allow myself to be still because we're living our lives. And I started getting these profound ideas fall into my head, like stuff that I always do in my guidance and my workshops and stuff, but like with more clarity, more simplicity, like the cool anecdotes that you always use or the analogies. And I started jotting them into my phone because I knew that they were good. And when I felt better, I'm like, let me put them on the computer. So I typed them in the computer and I realized I had 10 of them. And I was like, I'll probably do like a lecture series or something. And then I was like, let me organize them. And next thing I know, I'm like, holy crap, I'm writing a book. So my feeling was no one's commanding anybody to do anything. But
you will do it or else.
Yeah, do it. But if you follow these 10 pearls of wisdom, these recommandments, because again, no one's forcing you, then here we are. So that and my irreverence all together is what created that title.
There you go. I like it. 10 Recommandments. I think that original set was due for a rewrite anyway. I don't like the thou shalt not covet the next door neighbor's wife, because my next door neighbor's wife is quite hot. No, I'm just kidding, people. We're just doing comedy here. So tell us about the 10 Recommandments for Personal Empowerment. My understanding is it's a loose autobiography a little bit there.
Yeah. So what I did was I took these like pearls of wisdom that I gleaned through my experiences in my life. Like I came from a bit of a dumpster fire and I managed we don't have time. Like we really don't have time.
What the book is for.
Exactly, right? So I came from this dumpster fire, and over the years, the lessons that I've learned and the insights that I gleaned, I utilized in my life, and I turned it around, and I lived this wonderful life. But each one of them, I remember the story. I remember when I learned the lesson and when that insight was birthed. So it begins with a prologue, like loose, like this is who I am, this is where I come from. But as I talk about each chapter is obviously a recommandment. I utilize these anecdotes, these personal stories that don't always paint me in the most, in the best light. And, actually when I released the book, I was like, oh crap, knowing that it was going to be out there. And so it's a loose autobiography because I tell all these personal stories, but it's how to, because also the teacher in me says, listen, I'm not telling you what to do, but I did this, this, and this. And if you try this, it may work for you as well.
There you go. There you go. So good recommandments. There's 10 different ones. You want to give us a sampling of some of the 10? Just give us a hit out of a couple to tease out.
So the first one is I shall not claim victimhood.
And
then it continues with, I shall, and then it goes into the chapter. But recommendments 2 and 3 are back to back. 2 talks about how we have an emotional guidance system. Mm-hmm. And so our emotions, instead of it's I shall not become entrenched in my emotions. Rather, I shall use them as a guidance system. And then the third one talks about the toxic behavioral patterns, beliefs and behavioral patterns that we adopt when we become entrenched in our emotions. So it builds like that. I am not a victim. My emotions are here to guide me, not to, wallow in them. And this is what happens when we do. And then it goes from there. And the last recommendment, because I'll let you read the book to get the innards, but the last recommendment is I shall not live in fear. And then it goes into, what that looks like.
I like this. People can get lost in their emotions. I mean, we see that with the Karens they're running around. You see that on TikTok videos. Screaming at people. You're like, you're a little too much in your emotions there, lady. But everyone has those moments in life where they can get a little too much in their emotions. And I like the victimhood thing. Somehow over the last 20, 30 years, we've become a society that there's a lot of victimhood competition, and it's like, somebody's like, I had some trauma and I was victimized. And somebody's like, no, I had more trauma than you. And here's my story. And then they're like, no, I had, it's like, it's become like a thing, like a badge, like, like no one can, and I'm not being dismissive of trauma. Everyone, I don't know about everyone, but I don't want to throw everyone in the boat, but a lot of people have childhood trauma, and a lot of that childhood trauma sometimes has a deep effect on the rest of our lives if you don't get some help. See a psychiatrist, people, please. Everyone always asks me, they're like, what would you tell your 16-year-old self? Go see a psychiatrist. Don't wait until you're 50 and you look back and you're like, wow, that's a trail of destruction. Maybe I should get some help. But no, I like the non-victimhood thing, because when you live in the, I don't know what's the right word, the embodiment of victimhood, and you're in that pool, you can't succeed because you're always wearing that victimhood shell or that mask or that cloak, whatever. And the only way to get out of it is to be empowered, and the only way to be empowered is to be be self-aware and self, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically take care, realize that you're self-aware, and there's another word, self-actualization, or basically you need to, that you have the power to take care of yourself. What happened to you in the past is a thing, and you need to find out how to fix that. But, there comes a time in your life where you got to go like, I'm responsible for what goes on from here on out and how I deal with it. And self-accountability, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah.
And you could read the first 3 chapters, the first 3 recommendments, and just read those 3, and it will change your life, because it's exactly what you just said. We are not victims. It's all just information. It's sucky information. There's shitty experiences. It's unfortunate, but it's the impact on us that really makes the difference. So when I talk about personal trauma, there are people that have been seriously traumatized. And then there are people that have an experience, if we're comparing, that isn't even remotely close. But if the impact on that child, the 7-year-old version of me is traumatized. Maybe my mother forgot to pick me up from camp.
I got a hangnail once.
But that's my point. You're joking, but that's the point. If the impact on the child leaves the child with the belief of, I got a hangnail once, and the adults in my life weren't there to put me at ease, then that child grows up with the belief about themselves that the people that love and care for me will never take care of me. And then they go through their life creating patterns. And then at 50, like you said, they look back and they're like, oh, whoopsie. Sorry about all the collateral damage.
It's true. I hate to minimize it with a joke, but a joke is warranted here. It turns out I attract and seek other relationship people that also have hangnails. So put that in your Tinder box, your Tinder profile box. Anyway, so you've written this book. And this book's out, it came out April 23rd, 2022. You're re-releasing it with some updates. Tell us about the updates and where people can get the updated versions.
Okay. So it was released, like you said, in April, with a publisher. And over the last 6 months or so, I've decided to pull it from that publisher, create my own publishing company with my partner, Angela DeMarco, and re-release it. So if you were to go right now in this moment on Amazon, you would see it under the previous publisher. And that's great. Feel free to purchase the book. No one's going to stop you here, right? But within days, because it's already been submitted, you can find it under Phenom Publishing because, we're phenoms, but under Phenom Publishing, on Amazon, you could find it on the Uniquely You. If you go to the Uniquely You website, you could find it in audiobook where I self-narrated it. Mm-hmm. And then soon it will be, because we've just re-released it, in other places like Barnes and Noble and so on and so forth. But right now, because Amazon's the easiest way to go. I could order something now. We could finish this interview and it could be at my back step.
There you go. This interview is going to be out in 72 hours because we've got a few other shows in the can. So by then, hopefully it'll be.
Oh, Phenom's rocking it in 72 hours for sure. For sure.
There you go. So we got time. And then usually once we put it up, it takes a while to flow out to all the different syndicators, iTunes, Pandora, iHeartRadio, and all that stuff. So that'll be great. Let's talk about the other book that you're releasing. How soon is that one being released, and what's the title again?
It's called Beyond the 10 because the first one is 10 Recommandments, and it's Beyond the 10.
So it's another 10?
No. It's Beyond the 10. It's the 11. So
it's a big 11. It's really big. It took a whole book.
But it's beyond the 10. It's called Decoding the Woo-Woo. Like that's like the real title. And for those of you who are not familiar with the term woo-woo, this idea of the metaphysical community or the spiritual community, those that think and see and feel beyond the earthly realm, like the full moon rituals and your crystals and, that sort of stuff. What I learned in my experience is when I was working out we'll call them imbalances, but when I took the dumpster fire and turned it into, a silk purse, I don't know, I just combined two different things, but I learned that when I became more empowered in all aspects of my life, that magical aspect that we look and we think is outside of us, like again, the psychics and the Reiki healers and all of the stuff that we think of as magical, the witches, if you will, I started to see that kind of magic in my life. My awareness opened up. My creativity was heightened. I began to feel more connected to the world around me, more Ubuntu, if you will. And so I embarked on this unintentional spiritual journey. Like, honest to God, I quit my job. I was going to become an artist, and it turned into the spiritual journey in the life that I live now. So I wrote the book to say it doesn't look the way we think it looks. Mm-hmm. When you experience it, it looks a lot differently. And so it's kind of like a guide for those that don't know what the hell they're doing out there.
There's a lot of people doing that right now. In fact, there's a lot of Twitter employees right now that got laid off that are looking for their spiritual journey. But no, a lot of people are, this is kind of a time where there actually are a lot of layoffs going on right now. Yeah. And that's usually a time where people go and try and find themselves. In fact, the last 2 years, we've been going through the Great Resignation, where people are trying to, have been resigning and going, hey, man, I'm tired of working for the man. I'm tired of working 40-hour weeks. And, the company is like, you will work hard. And, Elon Musk types who are like, we need 80 hours a week out of you or else. And they're like, no, man. I want to do something where, maybe I can work at home or be with the family more. Or, one of my friends recently, he moved from a company that was 5 days a week to 4 days a week. And he likes that, and he feels more complete with that, and good for him, Yeah. Everybody knows everybody on Friday just sits around and watches YouTube and TikTok videos anyway, right?
And the clock.
Yeah, and plays Pong, and they have that screen that comes up that makes it look like I saw a TikTok video somebody posted the other day, and they basically have a screensaver that will come up that looks like Windows is putting in an update and restarting, and so you're just sitting there just going, "Oh, boss, sorry, I'm just waiting for Windows to do the update thing," and it's like you can hit a button and it comes up, And so you're just like, yeah, I'm not working right now when you came by because, I'll get your TPI reports or whatever from Office Space. So anything more you want to touch on before we talk about your other launch or your startup?
I do, because I just want to respond to what you just said. Think about what you do for a living, right? You're sitting here, you got your Chris Voss hat, you got your Chris Voss background, you got your Chris Voss mug, and your Chris Voss microphone, and you're doing something that you love to do every day. You can see it every time.
I'm supposed to love this?
But I can see the sparkle in your look at you, your old teeth, right? So you're enjoying your life. And there's so many people out there, even though teaching was a calling and I was doing something I loved, I was still on Fridays going, checking the time and my screensaver and, whatever it is, right? Not the screensaver, the wallpaper, the update, whatever it was you said.
Well, you're a teacher. You just you get the summers off and you're like, oh God, I got to go back to that thing.
We do the countdown. It takes us weeks to decompress. Well, it takes us weeks to decompress. And then there's the last 2 weeks before you go back and you're like, oh my God, 13
That's when you do the
days.
major drinking, right? When teachers do the major drinking.
Oh my God. But imagine a world where where people love what they do.
That's weird.
People love what they do. They told me when I quit my 6-figure job to paint, they're like, you could never do that. And I'm like, yeah, hold my beer. Watch me.
Hold my beer. Watch me go.
Yeah. And that's what Find Uniquely You is about. Find Uniquely You is about gathering people who have a passion for something and giving them an opportunity to share it on this platform, and then bring people who want to see what's on the other side of that curtain. Maybe they could take workshops, become a part of the community, and then eventually, do the creative or pursue the creative outlets that they enjoy as well. But you wanted to talk about woo-woo. I'm not going to go off on that. FindUniquelyYou.com, but I'm not going to talk about that.
There you go. All right. So we've got woo in the can. We've got your power book. And then this is, just to remind people, this is coming out in how many weeks?
So woo-woo is any day now, because woo-woo, again, we're publishing it through Phenom. So we're in the final stages of crossing every T, dotting every I, making sure it's perfection. And the cover, just if you wind up looking for it, I'm like backwards here. This painting, right? This painting right here, if you're watching, is on the cover of Decoding the Woo-Woo. And that will be definitely before Christmas, but maybe even in the next week or so.
There you go.
So November, December 2022 to make.
There you go. And let's get this in really quick. You do spiritual readings and private group events too at your gift shop and art gallery there.
Yeah.
In Florida. Mm-hmm. There you go. I love your shop too. It's got like a really cute fish on the front. It's very Floridian. It's it looks more kind of like Key Westy sort of.
The building is beautiful.
Yeah, it's a beautiful little cottage. It's a cottage? Is that appropriate?
Yeah, it's a cottage.
Yeah, that looks like something I see when I'm walking down the boardwalk in Key West or something.
Yeah, it's a Key West style. It's the actual style of the house. Oh. So you're spot on.
See, I knew that. Now I'm hungry for pie. Key West, key lime pie.
Key lime pie.
There's some place that you can order like the key lime pies that are like real ones out of Key West. There's some company.
I think it's called the Key Lime Pie Company.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I mean to order one of those one of these days. Now I'm hungry. All right, let's move on the show before I eat my hand. Let's talk about Uniquely You. FindUniquelyYou.com. This is a company that you've set up that people can join, community, work with, build out things. We're kind of in this phase now where a lot of people are making money, making courses and teaching other people. I teach people on the podcast how not to podcast. So, talk to me about this company. Why did you build it? What does it do? Give us an overview, if you would, please.
Okay, so Angela DeMarco, who is the founder of Find Uniquely, I'm her co-founder. I'm just her trusty sidekick. But this brain baby of hers, she had this idea that what if people no longer had to feel lonely? What if they had a community where they could interact with other like-minded people in a positive and an uplifting way and really develop their creativity? And if they have a passion for something, they could present it or teach it to others on a platform.
I thought that's what cats were for. If you're lonely. No, I'm just kidding.
Cats are for lonely, and then all the other social media is for connecting. But this is positive and uplifting. This isn't.
There you go.
Yeah. So, she had this idea, and it's quickly developed over the last 2 years, where we are now up and running. We're very, very, very new, but we're up and running with our workshops. And our workshops were all developed by people who had either a book that they wanted to teach about, like that's what I do, or a passion. Like there's a workshop that somebody does. Miss Marie teaches how to do American Sign Language, but she does it through music. So she does one class is Bob Marley's One Love, and she teaches you through the sign language. It's awesome. So we have these different workshops, and we have 7 different schools of thought. So you have the School of Metaphysics, the School of Creative Expression. It Takes a Village, which is obviously for the children. School of Empowerment, that's where I reside. The Pharmacy School, which begins with an F because it's about plant-based things and, holistic nutrition and stuff like that. And when the people come in and they submit to be a U instructor, then they go through the Ready, Set, Teach program with me and Kristen, and we help develop them so it meets our standards, because we're not just letting people throw things on our platform. Mm-hmm. And we create these courses, these live interactive courses, these intimate workshops of 20 people or less, so the community can be developed. It's not just about the subject matter. Oh. It's about connecting with people and enjoying the community. And just to give you just a specific example, I taught a class, my last class was a 4-week course on 10 Recommandments for personal empowerment. And I had a group of women. I had about 5 women in there, and they all fell in love with each other, and we all had this great rapport, and they all learned something. So then they took my next class called Veda Finds Her Crown, which is on another book that I've written that we're probably not going to bother talking about. And they took that 4-week course, and now there were some new additions, maybe one dropped off, and now their relationship is really strong. And we just finished that workshop, and they're like, well, we want to take another, because they've created this friendship as well as learning something and as well as doing things for the betterment of their lives. So that's just that one piece. But uniquely used also, we have a library in development. Remember, we're very new. We have a library in development. We have a lighthouse in development. The library is going to be sort of like YouTube, where people could, put their stuff and, get royalties. Again, events, the publishing company, if we have a U instructor that has this great thing and has a book that they want to write, we'll publish it for you.
There you go.
Yeah, so there's a lot of components, but right now the workshops are our bread and butter, for lack of a better way of putting it.
That's awesome. There's a few things here. Now it's got 25 seat capacity.
Yeah.
So 25 people can go on it. You've got the School of Thrivelihood.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that one.
The School of Empowerment, School of Metaphysics. It Takes a Village School. Is that for raising kids in the neighborhood that are bratty?
OPK, other people's kids.
Other people's OPK. I didn't even know it was a thing. Other people's kids.
Oh, it's not. That's my husband and I. When we're out, we're like, ooh, OPK.
Oh, OPK. Yeah. Those must be the kids I yell at from the lawn. Get off my lawn. Clint Eastwood, sort of crotchety old manner voice. School of Creative Expression. The Pharmacy School, and that's with an F as in farm, I believe.
Yes.
Okay. And Kitchen Sink School. So I imagine that's everything, including the kitchen sink.
Yeah, it's everything that doesn't fit in one of the other categories.
Now, does everything have to fit in one of these categories? Are there any new categories that can be made, or how does that work?
Well, everything really does fit in all those categories, because like I said, whatever doesn't fit in Thrivelihood to creative expression to It Takes a Village, and the others will fit in Kitchen Sink, because it's really everything else. Everything
in the kitchen sink. Yeah. So people can do these live shows. Do they stay up later where people can watch them if they miss the live?
So that's a good question, actually. It's international. So our times, we have people in Mumbai, we have people in England, Australia, Canada, Greece, Rome, obviously, all over the United States. Our U instructors are all over. And so we try to time them in a way that work for everybody. But if you took a course and you couldn't make it, like you miss one, it's like a 4-week course and you miss one, you get the replay. But the replay isn't up for the general public because obviously you have to register for the workshop for you to be privy to that workshop.
So you probably put that behind a paywall and charge people for it if you wanted to?
That's actually a thought. As I was saying that, I was like,
Huh. Because that's what I do with mine. I put them behind a paywall.
Yeah.
I'm like, you got to pay me at least 5 cents to see this crap. We should have the podcast, but I mean, we should charge at least 10 cents. So this has been pretty insightful, and I love the website. It's beautiful. How do people get involved? How did they become what you guys call evidently a U instructor? How did they get involved with the website stuff?
So firstly, at some point when we are completely developed, we are going to have a subscription fee. Mm-hmm. Nominal, but a prescription fee nonetheless. Right now, it's free to create an account. And once you create an account, you get to see behind the curtain and look at all the workshops and see what's going on. But to become a U instructor, all you have to do is go to finduniquelyu.com, look on the homepage, see all the cool stuff that's going on. But you'll say, if you want to be, just submit a form. Then you'll hear from me directly. Mm-hmm. And then we'll go from there. And if we think it's a good fit, we will create coursework together. Again, my title, not one for titles, but is a Chief Officer of Curriculum and Content. So I take all of my years in education and help you take the best of your ideas, even if you've never taught before, and assist you in presenting that to a live virtual classroom.
Because you're used to doing that for 25 years as a teacher. Right?
Yeah, and not only was I a teacher, I wore many, many hats. My official title was the Director of Student Development, but it's not only about creating curriculum. It's about I mentored teachers, teaching them how to teach students with differentiating learning styles. Mm-hmm. So it's like I've been teaching people how to teach my whole life. So it's really the perfect fit.
That is, because most people that, sign up for a course company, that helps them make and publish courses, there's no one really to help them. And if you're not good at, presenting stuff well and putting it into a concise process so that people can be like, oh, I understand what this is, and they can actually learn from it. It's kind of like our show. People are just like, I don't know. Chris made some jokes. I didn't learn anything.
Yeah. I think I'm dumber now.
But that's why I have brilliant guests like you on, because you guys make me look good. They're like, that Chris Voss seems kind of smart, but his guests are brilliant. So now we're smarter for it. When I used to do this show solo, people just walk away and be like, I think I lost some IQ points. Anyway, anything more we want to touch on or plug before we go out? You got a lot going on, Dan.
The irons are in all the fires. Yeah. The big thing, the thing that I think is really, I didn't go into teaching. I don't do what I do because I don't want to help people. I always say I'm not making Post-its here. Like, I really want to help make the world a better place. So first and foremost, if you feel stuck, or if you feel like life has just dealt you, a shitty hand, I really, really recommend picking up 10 Recommandments. It will lead you to beyond the 10, decoding the woo-woo, or not. That's your business. But if you really are ready to do the work and to make some changes in your life and live a fulfilling life, I highly recommend 10 Recs. If you feel lonely or like, there's people everywhere, but I'm in a sea of people and I can't connect with anybody, and you're looking to reignite your spark, I can't stress enough. Go to finduniquelyu.com. There's something there for everybody. And we're personal. We're real people. We don't even have our things automated yet. You send us an email. We are responding to you ourselves.
There you go. Well, that's sometimes the best way to do it. I like to respond to people personally on email. It's just, I don't know, it's just more of a personal touch. So that's the best way to do it. But, this will be cool. This will be cool to see the rollout of this. I love the website. It's really beautiful. It's great artwork. And
that's Angela.
Looks nice. Yeah. You got to have somebody you can always tell, a good website from a bad website. And it looks like you guys have either a podcast or you have Cuddle Talk, it's called. What's going on there?
I forgot about Cuddle
There's
talk.
some spooning going on or something. What's going on there?
Oh my God! Pillow fights, tickle fights, the whole nine. That's what we do.
Now this isn't OnlyFans. This is Cuddle Talk on your website, right?
Yeah. Yes.
I had to put that joke in there.
So Cuddle Talk, Angela and I created Cuddle Talk, again, another arm of finduniquelyu.com, because we have so many amazing people within this community that we're developing, and people have things that they want to talk about. And the focus in Cuddle Talk is to talk about when people step into their greatness, when people finally realize that there's more to life than, and what the turning point was for them. And often, again, there are people in our community, are you instructors, but we call it Cuddle Talk because I'm always like, cuddle. But we call it Cuddle Talk because we insist that our guests either be in their pajamas or loungewear, bring a stuffy or something that like they chill with, not be at their desk like I do it. I film on my futon in my office at home. And it's got to be the most authentic version of themselves, because people go on shows and they put on airs, right? And like, you know, you watch the Tonight Show and everybody looks perfect and everybody's got their their story that's already been pre-discussed. No. Tell us something that is embarrassing, that's uncomfortable, that we're all human beings. Everybody poops. Everybody poops. Let's just be who you are. And that's really the premise for Cuddle Talk. So Angela and I, and then we have episodes where we don't interview people that we call Going Commando. Because it's another, Oh, nothing is by accident, Chris. I see your face.
Wasn't Going Commando that scene in Old School where Will Ferrell runs through the streets streaking? Isn't that
yeah. So it's another layer. Another layer comes off, and we're just even more of an authentic version of ourselves.
You're sure this isn't on OnlyFans? Anyway, I'm looking at the screenshots of it, and it looks really fun. There's people wearing some. There's some teddy bears there. I mean, clearly these are pajamas. People. Yeah. There's some funny hats. And different.
Oh, that hat! I'm sorry to cut you off. It was our Halloween special. It was an alien hat. Yeah. I said, Angela, what if I wore this? She's like, you're not taking that off. I'm like, all right.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Commando.
Going. I got the Will Ferrell thing stuck from Old School in my head. It's such a great movie. I mean, you actually did a bit from it earlier with the tranquilizer gun with COVID.
There you go.
Yeah, you triggered that in me. You set that off. So this is really interesting, and you're a lot of fun, Dana. So these Cuddle Talk podcasts you got going on are going to be a lot of fun too. Looks like you got about 8 in the can there.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. So there you go. I mean, it sounds like a fun show to tune into. It sounds like you're building a fun community, and I think that's important, right? I mean, there's. You know, we talk about this on the show. We try and deliver a show that what we call info entertainment. So we try and bring on smart people like yourself that educate people. We also try and entertain at the same time, because to me, that's the best delivery of education and knowledge, is if you can have fun delivering it. And so a lot of people that I watch or study as a host, or Johnny Carson or Stephen Colbert, they're really good at being able to. Stephen Colbert is really good about just even taking news that sometimes is depressing, and really what he's doing is informing the audience. He's educating the audience, because no one reads the news anymore, and no one reads anymore. And so he makes it so that he turns it into comedy, he turns it into fun, especially during the monologue. And so to me, that's what really makes my show great, or I think what makes it great, because I'm a narcissist. Info entertainment. And so people like it. They're like, hey, I learned something and I got some laughs out of it, and I had a good time, which is different than the show we do where we just, run things under your nails and hook battery cables up to you and then waterboard you or something. That's a whole different show. I think that's called the Not Chris Voss Show. I don't know what that means. That joke goes nowhere. Anyway, thanks, Dana, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. And you've been very inspiring. And I like the idea of having a course creating service that no one has, that where they can actually have a teacher help them create something so that it's actually interesting. You might learn something. Because I've seen a few courses and I'm like, this is really awful. I think they're all mine. Yeah.
Oh, they're all yours.
I have one. Anyway, so give us your .coms wherever people look you up at the inner tubes in the sky, those pneumatic things that run across the clouds.
All right. So to find me specifically, information about my books, the gallery, the things that I do, you could go to ubuntufishgallery.com. To get a better understanding and to find out what's going on, Find Uniquely You. It's finduniquelyyou.com. And what's cool is, and I don't know if I mentioned it, but I don't think I was really clear, that the 3 books that I've published, all 3 of them, I have full courses that are on the schedule at finduniquelyyou.com. So I've got the book, and I teach the courses based on the book. So it's and a lot of our U instructors are doing things like that. Again, they're creating their own curriculum based on their own passion projects, and it's pretty amazing.
There you go. Passion projects. Find what you love. I've talked about that in my book. You've got to find what you love to do, because it makes all the difference when you wake up in the morning. You're like, I got to go work today, because then it's not work anymore. It's your passion, and, that's how I wake up with the show. I'm like, I get to do the show today, and usually 2 or 3 shows sometimes per day. And it's fun. And I love learning, and I get to sit in front of people that have spent 10,000 hours learning whatever. And I get to ask all the cool questions. A lot of questions that don't get asked in 3-minute segments when they're on, one of the news channels. And so I love it. And I love meeting people and seeing what their journey is. It's always an adventure for me. Some adventures are more than others. But not you, Dana. It's been a fun adventure with you. There's 1 or 2 guests. One guest we had on the show that was really irritable. It was a few years ago. But he wasn't too happy to do the daily book launch call-ins. So there you go. I always remember that show. That dude was angry. But if I had to do 50 book publishing podcast interviews in a day, I probably would be too. So thanks for coming on the show, Dana. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
There you go. Check Dana out. And if you don't get a chance, watch the YouTube version, because we always want you to go to YouTube and check out her artwork and go to her gallery. And I think some of your artwork is up on the website, isn't it?
Yeah, I do. I do actually have some on the website.
There you go. Very good. Do you sell it?
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Okay. I was just wondering, some people are like, no, I don't sell my artwork.
Oh my God, it's hard. I'll tell you, it's difficult. I'm like the ones behind me, the ones that are flanking me, they're going to be pulled out of my hands like this when they're ready to go. But I'm happy to sell, do commissions, whatever it takes. Spread the love, Ubuntu.
Spread the love. There you go. So check it out, guys. We certainly appreciate you guys coming by. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss. Go to youtube.com/Chris Voss. LinkedIn.com. All the crazy places over there. The big 130,000 group on LinkedIn. Go see us on TikTok. We're trying to get some videos up on TikTok right now and get the format right. It's so hard to get everything to fit in their little box, because we do this wide spread of our video. So watch for what we're doing over there. Stay tuned for further episodes. Be good to each other. Stay safe, and we'll see you guys next time. And that should